Across the northeast, on the Toon, the Cat, the Red.
Good evening. It is the three legends on the Cat, the Toon and the Red, and we've got them here, right here. Darren Williams, Lee Clark and Craig Hignett. Good evening, gentlemen. How are you doing?
Evening, Daz. All right. Evening, lads.
Evening, mate.
It's been a busy week, hasn't it?
Well,
that's for me. And Daz has done well to show his face tonight, to be fair.
Mate, honestly, it's good. Words can't describe, mate, what's going on at the moment. Words can't describe it. It's just absolutely barbaric.
What's that now, Daz? Six in a row, is it now?
6, mate. 6 in a row, mate. I mean, it's just getting worse, mate. Absolutely worse. I mean, you know, you fear at the weekends really as well. You know, stepping up against QPR because they've kind of picked up their form as well. So you know, it's going to be a interesting weekend, mate, to say the least.
And Clarky, your team still shipping goals for fun?
Oh, where's he gone? Have we lost him?
Have we got Lee?
He was there. Lee, are you there, Lee?
I'm back.
He's back.
Oh. Did you hear that, Clarky?
Well, he's just slagging us off, Iggy.
Well, I've had a little chat with Daz, who obviously he's 6 in a row, isn't he? It's getting a bit like Scotland with Celtic winning championships, Sunderland losing games, and then obviously your team's still shipping them in for fun.
Yeah,
and my team isn't.
You're on fire,
mate.
Oh, the tails have turned.
Absolutely on fire, aren't we?
You're on the upward curve.
And you know what? I can't believe it. I can't believe it. So I'm sitting here and you're wondering where the next win. Me and Daz were in the same boat and we're thinking, where's the next win coming from? And then all of a sudden we get a little bit of good fortune with Norwich, with the man getting sent off, get a win there, go to QPR, put in a good performance, clean sheet. And then we done it again. It wasn't a classic, don't get me wrong, at Birmingham. But they've kept the clean sheet, scored a great goal, Riley McGree, with a brilliant strike.
Yeah, it was a hell of a goal.
Oh, it was a great strike. And then held out for another 3 points. But it goes to show what we're saying about if you can get a little bit of consistency in the Championship. Because now everyone's talking about playoffs again. They're only 5 points off the playoff spot.
5 points off it. Unbelievable.
Yeah, having won 3 games. And what we're saying is, you know, if you've got to win 5 or 6 games on the bounce. If you do, you'll get in with a shout of it. Because I don't think the Championship, apart from the top 4, who I think have been good, I don't think it's that great. And I think it's a really good opportunity to get in the playoffs. Whether they'll do it or not, listen, I don't think they will, because I still think that they're going to show a little bit of inconsistency between now and the end of the season. I don't know, but maybe they've got a little bit of confidence off this, and maybe they have turned the corner, but it's at the moment.
But don't we always say, though, Higgy,
yeah,
there's always one team comes out with a late run, isn't there? There's always a team comes from nowhere. You're thinking, nah, they haven't got a chance, and then they put a run of wins together, like we've talked about what both clubs haven't done this season so far, and then all of a sudden you're right in amongst it, and you know that momentum's with you. The players' confidence is the highest it's ever been. Like you said, they've had 2 clean sheets on the bounce, took 6 points. So surely tomorrow against Blackburn, they've got to go, you know, right, full of confidence without being overconfident. You know what I mean? They've got to be ready for the game and thinking, you know, we can close the gap again. If they just can keep closing that gap week by week on the top 6, got a great chance.
I always think I'm an optimist, right? But where Borough are concerned, I'm a pessimist, because I'm now thinking, Blackburn's one of them places where Borough are on a great run of form, going there, we expect them to do all right, because Blackburn are having a tough time. They haven't kicked on at all since John Eustace has gone in there. And it's one of them games where I think, well, it wouldn't surprise me if they come away having got beat 1-0. And I wish I wasn't, do you know what I mean? But that's the way they've made me feel, because of they'll play well some weeks and get good wins, and you think, they looked the part, and then they go and have a run like they did, lose 3 games in a row to teams who are nowhere near, and you just think, you know what are the team? I think they've got a couple coming back. Obviously Riley McGree's come back, hasn't he? Lat's come back, he's started getting on the score sheet again. I don't know. I honestly don't know what's going to happen against Blackburn. Like I said, Blackburn aren't in the best of form.
No.
But it's a championship and you never know, do you? You never know.
I feel at this moment in time, Iggy, that we were both on the same boat. We fixed it, and then you pushed me overboard with the anchor around my ankle.
Well, one of us fixed it, Daz. The other one, but it goes. Well, what Clarkey was saying there, it goes the other way as well, doesn't it? You get one team dropping like a stone. Right. And Sunderland, I was looking at Sunderland. 100%. That got 9 points now from a bottom 3 slot, and it's crazy.
Yeah,
Borough's 6 points ahead of Sunderland now, which is they haven't been ahead of them all season. I don't think
they're closer to relegation zone than they are the playoffs now in terms of points.
But Clarkey, 3 games ago, we're saying Borough were only looking over the shoulder. They were only 6 or 7 points away from the bottom 3, and then they win 3 games in the spin, and then that's what happens.
Yeah.
That's what Dodgy and his staff and the players have got to look at. They've got to say, listen, this one result. I mean, huge game tomorrow for Sunderland against QPR.
Massive,
you know, in terms of can they get back to winning ways. QPR, you know, they have had a little bit of a, you know, an upturn in results since the new guy took over. But obviously, we talk about Middlesbrough. They're beating them 2-0, so they're still up and down and showing inconsistent form. So it's a great opportunity for Sunderland to turn things around for themselves, because if the worst was to happen, they go 7 on the bounce then, and they start asking questions. And I think, I don't know, I mean, a lot of the feedback I've had from the game last week at Southampton, I mean, sensational goal by Bellingham, by the way.
Yeah,
unbelievable strike.
Aye.
But what they said is they worked ever so hard to get back into the game 2-2. And then they showed lots of naivety after that. And what we've been saying all season, because they're missing senior.
He's gone again.
He's gone again.
Yeah, we've dropped it.
I'm back.
He's back. He's back.
Oh, he's back.
I just keep going underwater, lads. Sorry.
Are you trying to pull me up, Clarky?
Yeah.
I'm trying to look for you, Daz. That anchor's got you well deep.
No, yeah, I totally agree, mate. I mean, you know, we're two up against Southampton. Two behind against Southampton. Away to Southampton, and then they get back to 2-2. You know, in a great manner, in a great fashion, to be fair. And then we go high pressing, you know, and we just literally get picked off. And I'm thinking to myself, you know, you've been 2 down, you know, you've got back to 2-2 against Southampton. You know, you'd happily take a point out of the game. And we go high pressing and chasing, and we just end up being erratic and all over, mate. And we were so disjointed towards the end. It was just, you know, everyone was all over the shop. And for me, like you say, you know, it was naive. It was probably that instinct of a young player, without a lot behind him, in his career at this moment in time, just go chasing. You know, we've got back into 2-2. You know, let's go and win it. And I understand that, but you know, when you're in the position we're in at this moment in time, you know, it's got to be a case of, you know, oh, hang on a second, you know, let's assess things. You know, let's be nice and tight for the next 5 or 10 minutes, and then see where the game goes.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been banging the drum for young Riggy, haven't we? Saying, you know, give him a run of games and that. Is there a little bit of inexperience in that tackle, Daz, when he obviously it cost Sunderland the penalty that Adam Armstrong put away? But it seemed to me that there was no need to make the tackle, was there?
There wasn't, mate. And again, it's probably naivety. You know, he's young, he's eager. You know, and it's just, you know, it's having that little nonce, isn't it? You don't really need to make this tackle. Don't lunge in. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, it's one of those. But you know, I think, you know, as we all do coming through, you know, you learn from your experiences, don't you? And I think, you know, that'll be one he does learn from.
When does it become a crisis, Daz?
I think it's already a crisis, mate, in all honesty. I mean, I'm looking at the situation at the moment, mate, and, you know, I think we've got something like 10 injuries and 2 suspensions. You know, and for the size of the squad, mate, you know, it's a big ask. You know, you've got Sealt out, you've got Clark, Dack, Roberts, Embleton, Evans, Rusan, Huggins, Serskin, Ballard. You know, Ballard's a touch and go for tomorrow. You know,
and 09 suspended as well, isn't he, Daz?
09 suspended, and AJ Elise suspended as well. You know, so it's a lot of players out of a small squad that, you know, and when you look at it,
but
you know,
isn't that the danger as well of having a young squad? You know, if you've got that many injuries, who can you call on?
100%, mate. Because then you're looking to drop down to the youth's use. Do you know what I mean? It's like, you know, it's crazy, mate. And the situation obviously we're in at this moment in time, you know, you need everybody, all hands on deck, to be quite honest. But you know, it's like I say, it's a worrying one, mate. Because QPR halves, like I've picked up, you know, the results have been decent, you know, and we're going in that tomorrow with a lot of pressure on our shoulders.
We've had a message in via the WhatsApp. You can message the show at any point on 0330 043 2002 if you'd like to message the three legends, or you can speak to them as well. Same number, 0330 043 2002. A couple of Sunderland points, Daz. Sandy in Wickham says, at the moment only Rotherham have got worse form than us. Are we really in a relegation scrap?
I'd like to think not. I'd like to think, you know, there's enough below us that'll, you know, will probably struggle to make up the gap. But you just never know, mate. You know, like we touched on at the start of the programme, you know, there's a team that goes on the ascendancy and there's a team that declines, you know, and at this moment in time, you know, when you're 7 without a win, you know, it's very, very worrying.
That question there. Sorry, Daz.
No, go on.
They mentioned the form team, only Rotherham. They've got their own huge game tomorrow, haven't they? They've got Huddersfield at home, and that's a right 6-pointer. So you know, that'll affect it. But what Sunderland just have to do, focus on themselves, get their results up and running again. This is unfortunately what happens with young players. You know, they are talented, but they quickly lose that confidence, or sometimes the other way, they get a bit too confident when things go so well. There's no middle ground because there's no one there just holding them back or keeping them focused, you know, and encouraging them when things are going wrong, just keeping them level-headed if things are going really well. As we talked about last week, they're all just looking at each other, and I'm looking to me right, and the guy to me right's even younger than me, and I'm looking to me left, and he's probably just the same age as me. So I'm thinking, well, how are they going to tell us what to do? Do you know what I mean? How to react? And that's the issue we have at the minute. We keep repeating ourselves, but this is the problem, and this has been caused by this so-called project and philosophy that they have. I'm all for having some kind of identity, but you've got to be flexible in what you do. You cannot just keep going down the same path. I remember Newcastle done it many years ago. They signed Johan Cabaye, and obviously he became a brilliant success for Newcastle, and they made a lot of money on him selling them. So what they've done for a couple of years after that, they just continued to scour the French market. They didn't look anywhere else in Europe or around the world. But if it was that simple, everyone else would be doing it.
Yeah,
exactly.
You've got to have a different area. You've got to have like a mixture of your philosophy and your recruitment. You know, there's always got to be a time where sometimes, you might be wanting a more youthful, younger, energetic team, but you might want that experienced head in amongst them as well. You know.
Yeah. I mean, we've touched on it before, but obviously the biggest downfall was getting rid of Tony Mowbray. Simple as that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That was the biggest,
that was the start of it, Daz, wasn't it? Because there was no hassle, there was no issues there at all. They were challenging for the playoffs. They were just outside them, looking really good. Had a way of playing. Fans liked the way they were playing. They were all behind Tony, and then suddenly, in the space of 2 weeks, the club was in turmoil.
2-3 weeks. Totally,
well, but look at what's happened. Look at what's happened in his last 2 positions with Tony. So Sunderland controversially sack him, and their results go down, you know, drop of form, and everyone's saying should have never got rid of Tony, blah blah blah. And we championed that as well, even while he was the manager. Sunderland was saying the perfect manager for the project, etc. he goes to Birmingham. Unfortunately, he's had this health scare, and we continue to wish Tony all the best. But since he's been missing, they've just gone on a terrible run of form as well. Because when he'd gone through the door, he got them a couple of wins, and they seemed to pull themselves away from the relegation zone. But since Tony's not been there, the leader, and even Mark Venus, his assistant, he said, obviously his health's the most important thing, but we're missing him. We're missing him like crazy. He's a leader. He inspires we all, and that's what he's one of their managers. Probably Mogga is. People don't realise how good he is until he's not there.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate for him. People need to start believing it. He's proven. He's worked at all levels of the game, top level in European football with Celtic, Premier League, top end of the Championship, won promotions. This guy is very, very good at what he does, and the sooner people realise that and the penny drops, it'll be better. But Sunderland kind of turn back. They've made that decision now. It's backfired. They need to get it right, and they need to. Hey, I tell you what, Daz, I don't know what you think, but if it was to be the worst case scenario tomorrow, do they speed up the process of getting a manager in, a head coach?
Well, we've had that question on WhatsApp actually. Trev in Seaham has been in touch. He's heard some rumours on social media that if Sunderland get beat again tomorrow, then someone will be brought in before to deal with the club during the international break.
I think we've touched on this before, though, haven't we? You've got to bring somebody in. You've got to get somebody in. He's got to start doing his work now. At the end of the day, because you can't come in after the season's ended. It's like, what is the point in that? You've got to start doing your work now, and hopefully, the worst doesn't happen this season, and then obviously, but he's already started his process of building his side for next year.
But the players are in a bit of a limbo as well, aren't they? If Dodgy's not going to have it, then they need someone in who is a figure of authority, who they can look up to and say, right, this is the gaffer now, and what he says goes, and he's going to be here for however long, so I better get my head down and do what he says. Because if it's not, and if it's someone who's going to go, and you're that type of personality, you'll be like, well, he won't be here in 2 or 3 weeks, so I'm not bothered really. Why can he say to me, or how can he show any authority to them when they know he's not going to be there permanently? So for me, the whole thing falls down, doesn't it? You need someone there as a leader, as a focal point, as the one who's pushing everyone, who's laying down rules, and this is what we're doing. And then you need to follow that. So the young lads they'll want to follow that because they need someone to show them. But they need a permanent person to show them because they know that what this person says goes. And I can't just ignore him and then, 3 or 4 weeks later, it doesn't matter because he's going anyway. They need someone now, and they need someone. I think they need to do it, whether they win or not, or lose or not. I think they need a permanent man in there, ASAP.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, well, exactly what you're saying, Daz. You're saying give whoever comes in the opportunity to assess the squad, to assess the group of players. Say, well, he'll do for me next season, or as Higgy's mentioned as well, there'll be players coming out of contract. At the minute, what it seems to be doing is they've got this project of young players, and some of them are really young. Some of them aren't like young with experience. Some are young who haven't even experienced first team football who they're bringing in. So they've got this philosophy, but also seem to just want someone to be a coach. Like Higgy's saying, they need a leader. They need a Tony Mowbray. They need a good coach, but they need a leader as well. They need a manager who's gonna this is how we're doing it. This is how I do it. This is what I want. This is the disciplinary measures we're going to do. This is how we behave on and off the pitch. This is how we train, etc., etc. Not just someone who's going to tactically just give them the tactics on a training pitch and then on the Saturday, but have no authority in terms of, because it seems to me that's the way it is at the minute. And if there's any type of important decisions having to be made, it's like going from up above the man. Well, certainly when Michael was in there, Michael Beale, and when Dodgy's there as well, because I know the relationship between Christian and Dodgy. I know how they work from my time together with them at Birmingham, and I know that Christian's always been like the boss of Dodgy, if you know what I mean. And that's I can see that's what. And Dodgy'd be on the grass just doing his work, his tactical work, and which is all good and well. But you need that leader, you know. You need that leader.
How much say do you think a manager's going to have in players he's going to bring in, or who he wants to keep, or who he doesn't want to keep?
I don't think
because from the outside looking in, it doesn't look like they have.
No,
but do you know what though, lads? Do you know what? The big giveaway sign is when they're, you know, the sporting director or the director of football or the chairman comes out and says, or the manager always has a say-so on who we buy and sell. Always has a say-so. So that basically, he's part of the process. Well, that tells me, he's not really. We'll ask him what his positions he needs strengthened, then we go out and get the players or whatever. I mean, it's a tough one. It must be so frustrating for the fans, I've got to say, because all fans around the country want to support young players, but they also know that they want to see a winning team as well, and if they need help, they need help.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I think that came to light, didn't it, when on Mowbray's interview that time when he was asked a question by one of the press guys about a player coming in, and he went, "I have no idea," you know, and the club had signed him. Do you know what I mean? I think that, you know, that kind of showed what's going on in the background.
Yeah, interesting times up there in Sunderland at the Stadium of Light. How will they get on this weekend? We'll just have to have everything crossed, won't we, for the visit of QPR this weekend. It is the Three Legends. You can get in touch with them at any time, or 33 or 43 2000 touch 2. We've got a really interesting message about the international break, and we'll do that right after this.
Gentlemen, this op will take you deep into entertainment territory.
Chances of success?
Well, it's Netflix, old chap.
So we'll encounter thousands of films and TV episodes instantly over the internet?
Afraid so, yes.
Will there be popcorn, sir?
Possibly, Sergeant, yes. But we must face it, salted or sweet.
Damn it, you make your country proud.
Watch as many films and TV episodes as you want instantly over the internet for only £6 a month. Visit netflix.co.uk for a month's free trial.
Data and speed limits may apply. Fees apply after 3 months. See terms of use.
Whoa, Celestial, Celestial Windows. Whoa, Celestial, Celestial Windows. Whoa, Celestial, Celestial Windows. Whoa, Celestial, Celestial Windows. Windows, conservatories and so much more. With high security, great quality, the company you've been searching for. Whoa, Celestial, Celestial Windows. Whoa, Celestial, Celestial Windows.
How do you fancy getting involved in the fastest growing radio network in the UK?
Clark, you would need Harry Potter as a physio, wouldn't you, really?
He sounds like a poor man's Riley McGree, to be honest.
Thank you, everybody that's taken part in that theme.
They've got players there who are more than capable.
I don't want any BS.
There are so many ways that you can get involved. We're looking for presenters, producers, technical operators, social media and content creators, and so much more. If one of those has your name on it, then don't delay. Get in touch via email. It's admin@ragroupuk.com. That email again, it's easy. admin@ragroupuk.com. Come and get involved in your local radio stations that are really getting somewhere.
This is Elton John.
Hello, I'm Phil Collins.
Hi, this is Lionel Richie.
This is not just any old 80s show. Join me for 80s Mint. 2 hours of the best 80s music and memories. Right here, every Saturday night from 9
and Sundays from noon.
It's the Three Legends. Across the Northeast, Clark, legend. Williams, legend. Hignett, legend. WhatsAppers, call or send a voice message. Banter at its best. 033 00 43 2002.
Right across the Northeast, the Toon, the Cat and the Red.
It is the Three Legends, and you can get in touch anytime on 033 or 043 2002. Alan, who's in Thornaby, wants to know what the Legends felt about the international break when they were playing.
Well, for me, I got a couple of call-ups to the full squad, but never got a cap. So most of the time I was left on my own when all the other lads were going on international duty. Yeah. So it was basically having one-to-one training. I felt
you know what? That was the worst thing about it, Clarky, wasn't it? so sometimes you would get like a long weekend, if you like, off the lad, and you'd go away, wouldn't you? You know, I was forever flying away wherever it was, and having a little break, and I used to love it. Because I used to think, where will I go with this international break? I mean, if you'd have played in, if you'd have got called up and played in them, I think that would have been a nice break as well. Just something different from the norm. Yeah. But what I didn't like was when all the lads had went and you had to go in and train. And there was like 5 or 6 years, you know what I mean? And it was like the worst sessions ever. Because none of you wanted to be there.
Yeah, it was. In some cases as well with us, if there wasn't a lot of lads, like especially when I was at Fulham, there wouldn't be like a huge percentage of the squad going on international duty, but there'd still be a fair few. And the manager maybe take away for a little bit of a camp and a little bit of crack amongst the lads. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that used to work. That used to work out well. So, that was a good way of. Go on, Daz.
I think from a game point of view, and obviously the situation of it depends on what kind of run you're on, doesn't it? So I mean, if you're on a great run, the last thing you want is an international break, and obviously it's on the other end as well, isn't it? If you're on a bit of a dismal run, i.e. what we're on at the moment, it's probably welcomed. Do you know what I mean? Because obviously it might give a chance to get players back. It might,
that's a good point.
Have a little break from it.
I don't know. I mean, that's a good point. There was obviously some occasions where it affected me as a manager, especially when I was at Birmingham.
Yeah.
When the international breaks would kick in, whether you had internationals or not, the Championship clubs still stopped, and but it can be a tough one if you're on a bad run. You've got a 2-week wait till your next game, and sometimes you haven't got the full quota of players. Because some will think, it's a time for us to get a little few days rest with a couple of knocks and niggles. So you haven't got the full quota of players out there. So you still kind of get the quality of work into them, but you're desperate to get on but you want a match as well. That's where it happens, and it can affect you, like you said, on the other way. You're on a great run, momentum's flying, lads are full of confidence, they go shooting off with their countries here, there, and everywhere. And then you come back and you lose it a little bit, So it is a
as a manager.
It's very hard. It's very hard being a manager with it. I tell you,
it's a nightmare, Clark, especially when you're lower down. So I was manager at Pools in League 2, and we had 4 players who went. Now you needed more than 2 players to go on international duty to get your game called off.
Yeah.
Otherwise they don't. So I had 2 who were called up. And then I had 2 young lads who were, they were my best players, who were called up to the 21s, but the 21s didn't count. Right. So suddenly,
I've
lost like players. 4 players out of my team, and I can't call the game off, even though they're away playing in international duty. And I just felt, when you're down that low, you've got to play young lads. Young lads, you've got to play them, and if they go away for the 21s, and you get penalised as a club. If I'd have changed the team for a whatever it was, a Papa John's trophy game, and put young lads in, I'd have got fined. No, because you had to pay like 6 of the players who played on the Saturday. You had to play them in them type of games, and I'm thinking, that's like the double standard. So you won't call my game off if I have 4 players missing, but you'll call it. You'll fine me if I have 4 players missing for that Papa John's game. It didn't make sense, and the rule was ridiculous.
Some of the rules and regulations weren't right. Well, I mean, this EPPP, when it first come in, this Elite Player Performance program, it was crazy. I give young Damari Gray, who ended up going to Leicester, winning the league with them. I give him his debut at 16. When a couple of months into the season, gets a knock on the door with Christian Speakman and someone from the Premier League. And they said, well, Christian said, we've got a problem, Gaffer. I says, what? He says, they're filing a complaint against us because Damari hasn't filled the full quota of hours in for training. I says, what do you mean? He said, well, he's got to do like X amount of hours per week on the training pitch. I says, but he's playing 3 championship matches a week. He's starting Saturday, Tuesday, exactly. Saturday. How can he fulfill his training hours. He's on recovery, like for 3 of those days. And they went, oh, well, that's not what they want. I says, what, they don't want players in the first team? I couldn't get my head around it. Do you know what I mean? I was like, this isn't making any sense. You're ticking boxes about hours of training for the players. This lad's getting the best training ever. He's out in the championship at 16 years of age, learning his trade. You know, playing for a big championship club. He's playing Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday in front of 20s and 30s and possibly sometimes 35,000. Surely that's where you've got to. And it's all about, like you say, Higgy, when you were down in League Two, it's you're getting penalised for you developing and making young players better. Because what it does is it takes away from you. But what happens is, Higgy, and this is the tough part for us being in management, the fans, they don't have any sympathy for that. They just see Hartlepool are out there in a League Two game, or Birmingham are out there, whichever club it is. We're expected to win. We want them to win. Oh, by the way, we're 4 best players out the starting 11, aren't you? Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And what can you do as a manager with that type of stuff, you know?
So your hands are tied. You can't do anything. I mean, what I used to do is, in Papa John's game, after 2 minutes, I'd make 2 subs and bring 2 of the lads who'd played off on Saturday and put 2 on. And
that was a crazy rule, what they're trying to do with that.
It's ridiculous. It was ridiculous. But it's people not thinking about other stuff. You know, they haven't got the big picture, have they? They just want, like, this is what we're going to do, no matter what happens, and this is how we're going to do it, and not really thought about other stuff. And why shouldn't I be able to play people who are in my squad whenever I want? It's not up to them to tell any of us who our best team is. No, how do you know what my best team is?
If the results don't go our way, we ended up losing our job. But it's got to be on our say so. We can't be getting people telling who we can pick and who we can't. Do you know what I mean?
No, we're not Sunderland.
Honest.
No way. I thought you'd have been a bit quicker than that, Daz.
I know, he dropped off to sleep because he thought we'd stop speaking about Sunderland.
I'm just trying to think what 11 we can put out. That's what I'm thinking.
Clarky, we've had another WhatsApp in from Trev, who's in Gateshead. He said, Clarky, how pleased are you with Gordon getting an England call-up?
Absolutely delighted. Fully deserved. We talked about this last Friday. Obviously, Southgate was at Stamford Bridge Monday. He actually looked like he was carrying an injury at the start of the game. He wasn't full throttle like he normally has been. He wasn't doing his usual diligent work without the ball. No, delighted. I think Gareth's seen the big picture, seen his form over the course of the season, and delighted for the lad. It just shows you if you keep working hard, doing the right things, you'll get that opportunity. So he's certainly done that. So hopefully maybe he's gets opportunity to show Gareth. I'd like to think he will, because I think this is the last opportunity for any lads to stake a claim to get in the squad. That he can.
Is he going to be fit though, Clarky?
Yeah, I think he's got a chance for tomorrow, Higgy. I think they were really worried about the injury when he come off, but I think since they've had it scanned, Eddie's quotes in his press conference was he's got a chance for tomorrow in the cup tie. Because initially the stories coming out in Newcastle on the night of the game and the next morning could be struggling, could be a long termer, but thankfully it must have settled down quite quickly, and the scan reports have showed no serious damage. So be one of them, fingers crossed, because I think we need every single one of our best players available tomorrow if we've got any chance of progressing.
We had a couple of fans.
I was going to say that's a sigh of relief, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. We had a couple of people who messaged in earlier in the week saying about, did you see the way the physio handled his knee on the ground and the way Gordon was wincing? It looked like a nasty one, but it looked even worse what the physio was doing to him.
Well, they're the experts. Let them crack on with it.
Exactly. I mean, do you think
diplomatic, Clarky?
Yeah.
Did he have boxing gloves on when he was handling that knee?
In terms of Gareth Southgate's lineup, in terms of Newcastle, then do you think Gordon has got a good chance of making the final cut? And what about Trippier, Hope? Is there still hope for more Geordies to be included in his squad?
Well, I think it's all down to what Anthony does when he's with the squad. Does he impress on the training pitch? Does he impress in the 2 games? Or whenever he gets the opportunity to get some time? And then it's down to him to take forward his Newcastle form on the international stage. And he done that in the summer. I think that's been the catalyst. I've said this many times this season on this show. His under-21 form in the summer was the catalyst to him having a really great start of the season, and he's grew in confidence since then. And so I think he can do that. I think obviously Trippier is a big player for Gareth. Hopefully when this international break's over, he can come back into the fold, and I think if he's fit, he'll be in the squad. Obviously, Nick Pope's been in and around it for a long time, but obviously this long-term injury, and it also not being the first time he's done something with his shoulder, that might put a question mark against him. But in terms of his quality, I think they'll be considering. And then obviously you've got Callum, who's got a terrible injury record, Callum Wilson, but when he plays for club and country, he gets goals. But when you've got to pick and you're limited to such a squad for a major tournament, is it about 7 or 8 games if you get all the way to the final or something in a short period of time? It might be difficult for the manager to risk players who haven't got a great injury record, you know.
Yeah, he needs reliable.
That's why I was talking.
Yeah.
I was talking the other day, Hingy, to someone about it, and I think it was about Joe Gomez, and was saying fully deserved. But one of the reasons why you might have a great chance of getting on the plane, he's versatile.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got a limited number of squad players you can pick in the squad for a major tournament. If you've got a player who's played really well in 4 different positions this season, left back, right back, centre half, number 6, being really consistent, gives you a chance to put him in the squad and leave a space open for maybe another attacker or something to try and give you something a bit different in the final third. And if you're taking, I think, if you remember, did we have a couple of players during the Ericsson reign when I think Rooney missed a lot of football and he went into the tournament, and Beckham done the same, and we took about 3 or 4 players who there was question marks over their fitness because they'd missed a lot of football through injury, and it seemed to backfire on us, because what you've got to think about is it's relentless, isn't it? When you're playing this tournament football, it's a massive game every 3-4 days, so I think the injury situation might prevent Callum and Nick Pope getting in, but as I said, Anthony, great opportunity. If he can replicate what he's done for the club, he'll have a great chance. And I think Kieran, as long as he's fit, he'll be on the plane,
Clarky, with Jack Grealish being injured, and I don't think he's had a great season actually this season, would you put Gordon ahead of him?
On current form, I would, yeah. Definitely on current form. On what they've produced this season. Jack had an exceptional year last year, helping Man United win the treble, but personally I thought he was really good. But this year, he, for whatever reason, hasn't hit the height. He's picked up a couple of injuries over the course of the season. I don't think he's really, Doku's come in and I don't know, it might be wrong to say he hasn't embraced that challenge of trying to put up a fight with him. It just seems that he's maybe accepted his fate a little bit when Guardiola's picked him ahead of Jack, and he hasn't been the usual spark, But certainly if you're going on the current form, you've got to see Anthony's got a chance, But whereas, to be fair, Jack's got a fair few caps and he's done it on that stage. This is another step up in level for Anthony, but I'm sure he can handle it.
Yeah.
Well, you can get in touch. You can get in touch with the legends at any time. 0330 or 443 2002. We're just going to take another short break, and we'll look ahead to the weekend's games right after this.
Sunday,
Late and Live
with Les Gunn.
I need a crappie, and I need a crappie for this evening. It's for a special do. You get a little tinge of pain.
Tingy? Is that really a word?
Tingy. Tis now. Colin will tell you that it's... Well, it's been a long time since I watched Casualty. I'm not quite up with the modern medical lingo these days. Perhaps you might be interested in the neon horny sign, Colin.
Sunday,
Late and Live
with Les Gunn. Clark, legend. Williams, legend. Hignett, legend. It's the three legends. WhatsApp us, call or send a voice message. We don't bite. 033 00 43 2002.
Right across the northeast, by the fans, for the fans, the tune, the red and the cat.
There now follows an experiment in radiophonic communication. Immediately upon receiving the appropriate command, listeners are instructed not to hear any of the information which follows. Please stop listening now. Right. By now you should have stopped listening. Have you stopped listening? No, you haven't, have you? All right, let's try it again. Stop listening now. You're still listening, aren't you? I can tell. For the last time, will you please all stop listening now? It's no good. This thing isn't going to work at all. I mean, what is the point of trying to undertake a serious scientific experiment if nobody in the country is actually...
You have just taken part in a demonstration of why radio is the world's most intrusive advertising medium. You can close your eyes, but you can't close your ears.
They're still listening, you know.
You're listening to our station, and so are your customers. So contact our sales team on sales@ragroupuk.com. Are you listening carefully? That's sales@ragroupuk.com to get your business heard right across the northeast.
Don't you listen to what the man said. He said,
we are here every day and every night of every year. From the first breath to the last. We are experts in the human body and human emotion too. We answer 11 million emergency calls a year, but we never panic. We take a pulse, agree a plan, make a cuppa. We don't do it for the thank yous. We do it for all of us. It's not your normal job. We're mending lives, looking for veins, keeping the music playing. We are Michelle, James, Carrie, Yvonne, Adam and Frankie. And at 3:49 this morning, we were Maisie too. £7 2 ounces, all doing well. We are the NHS and we are recruiting now. Search nursing careers.
When it's full time, it's soul time. Every Saturday and Sunday, join me at 6. 2 hours of great soul music, new releases, UK soul chart hits, and memories from the past. We'll have them all. All I need is you to join me, Mike Pryor, in the Soul Cellar for the kickoff at 6.
Clark, legend. Williams, legend. Hignett, legend. It's the three legends. WhatsApp us, call or send a voice message. We don't bite. 033 00 43 2002.
right across the northeast, by the fans, for the fans, the tune, the red and the cat.
And we're back with the three legends. Higgy, I interrupted you very rudely just before the break. I understand you were going to have a chat about a Borough player that's.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about international breaks, and it's great to see Finn Azaz get his first call up for the Republic of Ireland. I think he's a player who's got quality. I don't think we've seen the best of him yet at Borough, and I'm sure we will do at some point. But he's got a call up, and obviously he'll be absolutely made up with that, and it's a good feather in the cap of the club as well. Yeah. The more international players they've got, the better. So congratulations to Finn Azaz.
Absolutely.
Well done, mate.
And joining us, because he's coming up just after the news at 7, is Ian Mercer with his black and white and red all over. What have we got on the show tonight, Ian?
Well, my first guest, lads, is someone who you will know very well. You'll have
listened to this person hundreds of times, and it's a fair bet you'll be listening to him again tomorrow. In fact, he's even name-checked one of you. Intrigued? It's the match of the days, Guy Mowbray, who, of course, as you very well know, his roots are steeped in this region, and a good friend of yours, Darren.
Yeah, great lad, Guy, mate. Love him a bit. He's top man.
He's not very happy about York City's situation, but
no, well, he's a big York fan, isn't he, Ian?
He is. Isn't it great? You've got someone who covers World Cup finals and yet gets as big a kick out of watching his hometown club. That's what I call a proper football fan.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Yeah, there's a bit of unrest.
Anyway, yeah, absolutely. My second guess, he's always good value, is Mark Douglas of the Eye, and I'm sure he'll be focusing on Newcastle's trip to Man City tomorrow, Middlesbrough's revival, and Sunderland's ever-continuing slump.
That's all coming up in black and white and red all over after this show at 7.
I didn't mean to laugh, honestly. I didn't.
I was going to say, everyone's asking me how my new hip is, and it's almost as painful as the 5 second places I had at Cheltenham this afternoon.
Ian.
Mate.
Feel for you,
mate.
I know, 5 second places. Can you believe it? And the Gold Cup winner had in 3 doubles, and all 3 of them came second. Never mind.
Ouch.
Oh.
Well, thanks,
Ian.
Ian.
It's a good job this show pays us so much, and it lasts.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Right.
Cheers, Ian. We'll see you in a little bit.
See you, Ian.
See you, Ian.
So gents, this weekend we've got some interesting fixtures ahead of us. No more than for Newcastle in the FA Cup. Clarkey, are Newcastle going to be in the next round?
Oh, wow! Be the shock of the season, wouldn't it? Let's be honest. I mean, drawn them in both cup competitions this year. So I mean, you think you get the result, you beat Sunderland, and then you go to Blackburn, who played really well on the night, and get the result there, and you think, right, just give away a decent home draw, then bang, we get Manchester City away. So it couldn't be any harder. It couldn't. I mean, it's just, we're going to have to be in our absolute best, and some of their players are going to have to have an off day, which they don't very rarely do, especially at the Etihad as well. But who knows? You know, De
Bruyne is missing O'Clarkey, and Ederson's out.
He is. I know, because if what I was thinking with De Bruyne missing, Ederson probably could have played in De Bruyne's role, couldn't he? He's that good.
He could have, yeah. Although I don't know if you'd have seen his tackle on Darwin Núñez. He was a bit late for that one, wasn't he?
I'm not sure he likes that tackling. I think he just likes hitting them 80-yard passes onto a sixpence, doesn't he?
Yeah. He does.
It just depends who they bring in. Higgy, they've got world-class players to bring in, haven't they? When you look at that bench, sometimes you think, wow, that full bench should getting the Newcastle starting 11 or whatever. If the subs for Man City were competing in the Premier League, they might get one of them last Champions League spots, mightn't they?
There's every chance. I mean, I don't know if you've seen their bench on Sunday.
Just a
it
different
was amazing.
level.
Yeah,
Just
I mean,
a
people like
different level.
Guardiola, I don't know how much they spent on him, but he was sub, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, the bench
must be into the hundreds of millions. Must be into the hundred of millions just on the bench alone, you know.
Yeah, it must have been. I mean, Doku was on the bench, wasn't he? And
yeah,
that was.
Well, I was speaking to a few Man City fans as well, and because you don't see a lot of them, the goalkeeper, is it Ortega, the number 2?
Yeah, Ortega came.
You know, because Edison's in goal. They said he's top quality. Just obviously he's got a number 1 in front of him like that. It's the same with Kelleher. It's Liverpool, isn't it? I mean, he's been superb in his run in the team, but he's got Alisson in front of him. That, you know, it's tough, the goalkeeping role, when you've got 2 absolute world class ones in front of you like that. But no, going back to the game, it's a real tough one. I'd be even concerned if it was last season when we were defending well, going to the Etihad, I would think it would be tough. But because we're not defending very well at this moment in time, I think this could be a tough afternoon for us, a very tough afternoon. And hey, listen, you always have hope. You've got to go into every game thinking you can get something, but this is the hardest task of all. And the old cliche, I've heard loads of Newcastle fans say it, it's been brilliant this week. Well, if we want to win it, we've got to beat them all. So
they're not wrong.
They're definitely not wrong, but it's all right saying it when you're sitting in the pub having a pint. It's about, you've got to go out there and beat them 11 world-class players you're up against with another 5 or 6.
Listen, I thought, I know you've seen the game on Sunday with Liverpool, and I thought Liverpool's second half, they showed you how you play against Man City. I thought Man City were rattled, and they were doing things that they don't normally do, because Liverpool was so quick on them and closed them down so well that they were panicking at times, Man City. They've still got quality, don't get me wrong.
I think both managers...
But both managers were brilliant.
But Klopp said after the game, nobody's done that to a Man City team since Guardiola's been the manager that they had done in the second half. Even when Man City have lost, they've still been dominating the game, and they've lost by a little slip up at the back. And then Guardiola said, wow, second half, like being hit by a tsunami. He says we couldn't get out. They were swarming all over us when we were trying to get out. They were pressing us high. They kept coming after wave of attack. If you've got the right players, Higgy, you can do it. I certainly believe Newcastle have a huge threat in the attacking areas with their pace, but it's just this defensive issue we've got this season. Complete opposite to what we had last year, which our Champions League qualification was based on. We're the complete opposite this year, you know. You go to Stamford Bridge and you score 2 worldies like we did through Jacob Murphy and Isak.
What a strike that was, by the way. Murphy's strike was unbelievable.
Yeah. When you go and score 2 there, you expect to get a result, but you know some of the goals have been great. And you know, sometimes when I'm saying something like that, people say, they might look and say, oh, yeah, Dubravka's in goal, we need Pope back. And you know, actually what? Dubravka probably hasn't been at fault for any of the goals. You know, you couldn't really go and say, oh, he's made a really bad error there or bad error. There might be something slight from a technical goalkeeping point of view that a goalkeeping coach might pick out or something like that. But you couldn't go and say, oh, he could have done better. In fact, the cup tie at Blackburn, he helped them get through because he made some really crucial saves. So, no, it's not an easy one, but as me Geordie pals have been saying, if we want to win it, we've got to beat them all.
Can we get some predictions then, gents, for Man City Newcastle? No one dare go first.
I'm going to go because
I'll go 7. We'll win 18-17 on pens.
I think it's going to be a tough one. I agree with Clarky. I think Manchester City, especially at home, and I'm going to go 3-1 Man City. Sorry, Clarky.
Daz.
No, I'd say, Iggy, that's quite kind, that, actually.
I think, personally, I think it'll be a little bit tighter than we think, to be quite honest. And I quite fit. Obviously, it's going to be a great game. I'll go 2-1 Man City.
2-1 Man City, and Clarky's gone for a Pens win.
18-17.
18-17.
Absolutely, that's a score.
Specific as well.
Yep, get your money on it. All right, let's move on to Sunderland. I know we've talked about them already, and the horrific run that they're on. Daz, are they going to break that run this weekend against QPR?
I'd like to think so, mate. Obviously, you know, it's a difficult time at the moment for them. Obviously, you know, we're not particularly scoring a lot of goals, although obviously we got a couple last weekend against a decent Southampton side. So I'm going to stick with the lads. I think, you know, at some point it's got to turn around, and as much as obviously QPR have started to lift their results, I think we're going to shade it 2-1.
Right. Interesting. Higgy, how do you think?
Come on then, lads. Come on, bring it on.
I'm gonna. I mean, last week I thought. What did I say, Daz? Last week 3-1, didn't I? I thought, or something like that. I think they're going to get a draw. I think they're going to go down there and come away with a 1-1 draw. Don't know why.
Yeah.
Because everything points to a QPR win, but I think Sunderland will surprise us and come back with a draw.
Yeah. They're at home.
Are they? Oh, they're at home.
Do you want to yeah.
Oh, there you go then.
I think change your thoughts.
I am going to change my thoughts because I'm going to go now.
Right, I tell you what. I tell you what. They'll definitely lose if they turn up at QPR.
Yeah, they will. Yeah. I don't know why. I think I was thinking that because Middlesbrough were down there, weren't they?
Mate, it was the other week. I said the same, mate. I was talking about them being away and they were at home.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? I think they'll win then if they're at home. I think 2-1. I'm going to go 2-1 if they're at home.
Yeah.
Clarky, what do you reckon?
I think they need to win. Never mind. I think they will. I think they need to win, and for that reason, I think they'll do it. I don't think it'll be a great spectacle with the position or the form of Sunderland and the position of QPR, but I think Sunderland will get the job done. It'll be tight. It'll be by the odd goal. Be the odd goal. I don't
well, listen, the law of averages says you've got to win 1-2.
2-1 to Sunderland.
2-1 to Sunderland.
It's like
we've both gone 2-1
in the casino.
Yeah? We've both gone 2-1.
Yeah.
What did you go, Daz?
Yeah. I went 2-1, mate. 2-1 as well.
Right, we're all 2-1.
It's written in it.
It's a full house.
In the stars.
It's a full house.
And finally, let's move on to Borough then. At the back of 3 wins, they go into their Blackburn game. Buoyant, confident, looking at a new system that's playing the same system that has been so successful for them. Are they going to get the 4th win on the bounce, do you think, Higgy?
Well, I hope so, yeah, and I don't see any reason why they can't. I think it'll be a tough game. And Blackburn are similar to Borough. You don't know what team they're going to turn up, you know what I mean? Sometimes they can be really good, sometimes they can be awful. But I'm going to stick with Borough. They're on a great run. I don't think they'll keep another clean sheet because I think 2 is the limit. But I'm going to go another 2-1 to Borough.
Clarky, what are you thinking about Borough?
I'm thinking they'll be confident. Higgy said it. Blackburn, especially in the league, have not been great. I was down there a couple of weeks ago where they probably played their best game of the season against Newcastle, but their league form hasn't been great, and the new manager bounce hasn't kicked in yet. I think, Borough will go again. I think they'll go 3 clean sheets, another hard fought 1-0.
They're 18th, Blackburn. You don't realise that, do you, when you're talking about it?
Exactly.
Blackburn have always been associated with being at the top end of that league, but they're sitting 18th.
And Daz, what are you thinking, Borough, going into this Blackburn game?
I think they've done, remarkably well to turn it around, and they've put themselves in a great position now. Obviously we won't mention the playoffs, but they've put themselves in a great position to start climbing the table again. And I just think they're probably going to be too much for Blackburn at home, and I think they're going to win 3-1.
3-1.
Get in there.
Well, there you go. That'll do, won't it? 3-1. That would be all right.
Yeah, I'd take 3-1. I think another 3 points, get themselves closer.
So that's two wins. So that's 2 wins in the Championship and an 18-17 victory in the FA
Cup. I'll take that after the weekends that we've had previously. Well, me and Daz in particular.
You're not wrong, mate.
I know.
Not wrong.
So are you guys at any football this weekend? Are you at the games, anyone?
I'm actually up in Scotland watching my old club Kilmarnock against St Mirren.
I will be at Manchester United Liverpool on Sunday.
I will be at Sunderland
chance
QPR.
I could be there as well.
And obviously we've got to mention with Clarky what happened last night. Your lad having another good run out.
I played well, got his first senior goal in his first start in Europe. The last few weeks have just been beyond my wildest dreams. Unbelievable.
Fabulous. Well, thank you very much. This has been the 3 legends every Friday night from 6. Lee Clark, Darren Williams and Craig Hignett. Have a fantastic weekend, gents, and we'll see you again next week.
All the best, lads.
Take care,
Good luck
guys.
to the
All the
boys.
best of the weekend.
Bye.
Cheers,
Bye.
lads.